Along with Mr. Artyom Rudanov, we are the two teachers of the Department of Public Policy, and we are here to do a bit of presentation about our program, what we basically do, what we basically teach, what we basically research on.
Let me start from the very beginning. Our program is kind of very innovative and a very interactive one. We are always trying to create an atmosphere where our students are able to expand their learning environment. We also encouraging our students to participate in double degree programs, in exchange programs with foreign universities, sometimes with Russian universities, or with High School of Economics branches that are located in different cities around Russia. So right now our program are looking for international students, for Russian students with very different backgrounds, but united by one general thing, united by interest to public policy, to democratic governance. And we also want to create a new approach, new those for public policy in Russia, to develop it in a proper way and to create more specific and more precise atmosphere in Russian public policy.
So what we basically have here is a 2-year master program that is taught entirely in English language. And public policy is one of those cutting-edge master's programs which is basically has taken the graduation space in social sciences across the world with much fancy. What I mean by that is that students in the 90s were studying MBA program with great interest, great attraction, great job opportunities in the market. In the 21st century, in the second decade of 21st century, that means 2010 onwards, there's a global tendency that public policy programs are opening up everywhere in the world, including our case in Russia, where it has been open for past 15 years. And for the past 10 years, the course is entirely taught in English language. And we have two tracks here. One is political analysis and public policy, and the second one is human rights and democratic governance. You might ask this question, that why these two programs? Why these two tracks? And the answer is very simple, that we basically see what is basically decided or discussed in the classes are to be taught by the two-way traffic of understanding. One is the bottom-up approach, which is about the human rights and democratic governance, how the people are interfering, intervening, and participating in the policy formation and policy change. And then political analysis and public policy track, which is more about the top-down approach of analysis of how the bureaucrats, consultants, policymakers are preparing and analyzing and creating different policies. The course of the education is 2 years, which has been divided into 4 semesters, and each semester has been divided into 2 modules. So altogether, you are studying for 4 semesters, and out of these 4 semesters, 3 semesters are intensive learning in the class. In the 4th semester, you are writing your master thesis and doing the defense of your presentation, of your research work. And the research work that we basically encourage our students to do are varied. They are basically very interdisciplinary in its question, in its demand of academic research. And what we really look forward to is that it has to be original. The students are doing fundamental research work, which is having an original component. Yeah?
Let me add one important note. If you are on the one track, it doesn't mean that you are excluded from another one.
Yeah.
Of course, we are always trying to combine this more bottom-up approach to public policy with a general approach about policy systems and how decision-making process working. So it is kind of combining, unifying mixed methods, mixed approaches, but with very precise focus in each track.
So basically, we have talked about it, that our programs has a massive amount of internationalization, not only by the students' prospect, where we have got students from more than 20 countries who are studying with us. And the ratio of the international students and national students are basically around 45 to 55%, right? So you have 45% of international students and 55% of the Russian students. The entire learning environment is very global, and the questions and the concerns that is basically discussed in in our class through the policy framework, through the policy perspective, are also international by its orientation as well as by its discussion process. And as my colleague and friend Mr. O'Donnell has told you, that our program has been encouraging a huge amount of students' mobility exercises. And at the very formal level, our department has got a set of agreements about which I'll just brief you a bit. That we have agreement with the Sciences Po Lyon, we have agreement with the University of Torino, we have agreement with the Erma University, which is in Sarajevo, but at the top of it, we have the agreement which is related with the University of Bologna, which is a double degree project, and one of its unique benefit that students are gaining in our part of the world, where students who are having good grades, good learning attitude are basically shortlisted, and in the second year of study they go and study for a semester and a bit more at the University of Bologna's campus. While they come back, they defend their defense master thesis here, and at the same time they are basically having their defense conducted for their diploma of University of Bologna by the Skype or by the regular visit of the professors from that university. And at the end of the day, the students are getting 2 diplomas of equal participation, that is University of Bologna, one of the oldest university, if not the oldest in the world, and Higher School of Economics, one of the youngest but most dynamic university in West Europe.
Let's start with our professors. Head of our department is Professor Nina Yurievna Belayeva. She is a very well-known researcher and activist in Russia. She worked together as a practitioner and as a theoretician in Russian policy, since the collapse of the Soviet Union. Also, she worked with different European and United States organizations such as OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, with different United States institutions. And she's kind of our strong leader who heading us to the most prominent and the most successful approaches to public policy and to contradiction in global governance and global policy making.
And well, but the team of Professor Nina Yurievna has been well supported by a team of very well guarded, well equipped professionals from very diverse field, and we have leading professors like Dr. Irina Semenenko, who is a senior member of the Academy of Sciences, and she has been one of the leading political exponents. We have Victor Albert, who is from Australia, who has been an expert on the issues related with his research, fundamental research work on the community of Brazil. And you have Dr. Gerasimova from the Cambridge University, who has been a leading hand in the field of environmental policy. And they are basically, further supported by Dr. Dmitry Zaitsev, who has been vice chair of the Department of Issues of Scientific Research Work, and has been teaching a very good course named on the think tanks as a policy actor. We have Mr. Kozlov, who has his own independent program. Vladimir Kozlov has his own independent program called Population Development, but he has been a co-member of our team, and he has been teaching migration policy. We have Artyom Moldanov, who is sitting next to me, and he has been teaching courses on education and development and human rights in non-Western societies along with me.
Contemporary
political science and comparative public policy. We have Dr. Zinaida Pogosova, who is a legal expert on the subject of she is teaching regulation and reforms, and she has been of late less frequent, but she has been an extremely well-guarded scholar in her field. We have Sergei Anatolovich Parkhomenko, who has been having a core course on the anti-corruption policies, and he conducts an amazing set of research seminars writing about the qualitative methods and the way the courses are to be, how the term papers and master thesis should be written in a more scientific manner. And finally, you have me here, the long hairs in the pictures. This is Sanjay Rajan. I'm from India, and I do teach a set of courses. The number of that is a bit longer. So you have conflict management and analysis that I co-teach with Professor Belayeva and global actors in public policy. But besides that, I have human rights in non-Western societies and education and development, religion, governance and policy making, and global political economy, besides some of them we do co-teach together with my friend Artem Uljanov.
Are we ready to present them?
So yes, we have already discussed about these two tracks, about what is the learning concentrations are. We have this political analysis and public policy concentration and human rights and democratic governance. And you can see the range of careers. What we are trying to talk to you today is that our course has a set of job track which are basically way too wide in its description. We have got students who have been very successfully employed in the field of private sector, multinational companies, organizations which are belonging to the Russian market as well as abroad. We have the people who are working for the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Defense and Finance. At the same time, we have students who have been working gainfully employed by the international organizations like United Nations, Red Cross, and other international non-government organizations like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and so on and so forth. What we mean here is that a course or a discipline which basically prepares you for the learning opportunity in public policy equips you with a set of tools and mechanisms that allows you to have maximum maneuverability, through which you can really build up a very nice, better job options where you are having most of the elasticity.
It's important to mention that from very beginning of your study, we trying to include you in some particular internship places where in future you can find your job place. So if you have a clear career opportunities or clear career goals, if you understand what you want to receive from our program and you got some potential places for your job, we will be pleased to help you with these places, to recommend you, to support you during your internship, and to improve your possibilities in your career.
Yeah. So that's a very massive thing, and we have a huge set of clusters of research work that you can see here on the slide. One of the track is about the global governance participation, which is led by Professor Bilyeva and assisted by some of the team members, including me and Artyom. And we are basically working on the subject of how the different global institutions are basically generating, facilitating, and converging a certain level of policy coherence in different layers of the governance, from the local to the global. And their concerns are massive as it is a subject of global governance. So the topics are varied and very inclusive. And we see a whole set of different questions that is basically discussed, analyzed, and caters to the research interest, which basically is taken up by the students who are writing their term paper and master thesis on the subject. Yeah.
We already discussed internships, so
just to say the last line, that you have a whole set of places of internship with which our department has a formal agreement where the students as our full-time students of the department go for an intensive internship, and that is a part of our learning exercise, which you go for a month and a half and we are expanding this in the near future, that we would have a 2.5 months to 3 months of an extended internship.
But for the 1 year.
For the 1 year, yeah. So that would be a kind of a strong learning exercise. And as the institutions are having a formal internship platforms, so the students from our program are basically taken up with much seriousness by the counterparts. So these are the whole set of opportunities that is available for our students, and the names that we had already mentioned, some of them have basically not been mentioned by me, but they are not only the leading educational institutions, but also think tanks and consultancy institutions where our students can have a set of participation. They can go to the conferences and seminars, they can go for the internship, they can apply for the short-term study tour, they can go for an exchange mobility program, and to top it all, at the very first line that you see, University of Bologna, with which we have a kind of an icing on the cake accomplishment, that we have a double degree agreement with them. And every year we are sending the students. This year we are just on the verge of selecting our software study students who have scored very well, and they are the people who would be on board in the month of September to have their academic sojourn in Italy for 4.5 months. So I guess Artyom is going
a little bit about our portfolio competition, because if you want to apply to our program, it is 2 main ways. First one is the Olympic competition, but unfortunately right now
the train has gone.
Registration is already closed, so this opportunity already missed. But you can always apply by portfolio competition. It is a set of documents which proves that you've got some advantages and you've got some serious achievements, like maybe academic publications, participation in conferences, good diploma, good grades in your previous diploma, and so on.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, what you see here is that there are multi-pronged strategy that is basically employed when we take a student. We want the very best and the very committed people to come and join this nice but extremely intense journey of 2 years of learning. So you have to have a very smart vision to articulate why do you want to be the best first. And secondly, you might have a kind of a not so ideal grade in your certificate, but at the same time, if at all your letter of motivation, your portfolio that consists of your bachelor's thesis work or master's thesis work, doesn't matter. And besides that, a strong motivation letter where you articulate the reason of your study, which is followed by an interview, which is more engaging and at the same time extremely critical in deciding in favor or against about your presentation, about your presence. That matters a lot. Unlike, you come for a blind test. So what happens in the Olympiad case, that it's given an opportunity to the students from all across Russia as well as from the former Soviet Union territories, post-CIS countries, that they can apply based on their academic interest, based on their achievement on that Olympiad date when they go for the test and exam, they can kind of be successful and can be reserved for the seats. But to remain democratic and to remain consistent, we encourage a maximum number of portfolios to be applied for our program from different parts of the world, including from Russia. And the students, based on their high quality of motivation and their academic achievement of the past, is basically shortlisted for our program. So these are some of the pictures of the way we had done some of those engagements to continue to share what we basically do. Our previous higher school of economics winter school that was organized in 2015 and 2016, you might see the pictures there, but the students have come there during the winter school time to kind of keep applying, to know what actually public policy is. There's a first-hand appetizer. So you come there just to have a taste of what basically we do 2 years, and basically you try to know that in 3 days' time. So you have a set of professors coming there teaching a bit about what our courses are, what we basically do, teach, and then the students are coming to have a kind of a certain feel and touch about this program for which they want to embark on and they want to commit themselves for 2 years of studies. Okay. So I believe that the process are very simple and basic here, that you start on February 1st. I mean, we are already mid-March now. So you have the submission of application of package. In the month of April, you have the Skype interview with all the candidates. On the 20th of May, the official announcement for all selected students. So you have in the month of June, a copy of applicants who are having their submission of documents. What I would suggest you here, that we have our department's own web page on our HSE website. And not only web page, our sub-website in the HSE website, let's put it that way. And keep a tab on it. You have a whole set of dates for submitting your application, because the dates and the timelines and the deadlines keep changing year to year. And I'm afraid it might be I'm on the wrong side of the facts here as far as the dates are concerned. But what I would suggest here, that as long as you are here with me now, you can all as well go to the website of www.hsc.ru, and there you can apply for, write some keywords, public policy, Moscow, HSC. You would go to our site, and there you have all the details how to go about joining our 2 years of engagement together.
Yeah, dates could be updated, but it's even easier way to find us. Just put in the Google public policy HC, and our program will be the first link.
Yes. So these are the study process. We are having the, some academic schedules. Each of the semester is divided into 2 modules, and you are gaining most of the credits by your participation in the class, as well as your regular test that happens at the end of each one of the module. And your academic engagement and your evaluation is massively evaluated by the level of your engagement in the learning process. not only by writing the smart papers, but by remaining smart throughout the learning process and remaining glued to the learning journey with us.
It's a little bit about home assignments. You know, some teachers had their own manner how to communicate and how to interact with students. Sometimes you could be ordered to present something like an essay or like an analytical paper. Sometimes it could be a presentation from your side. It could be a group work. We're always trying to include a certain amount of students in different group activities just to create some team atmosphere, team building, and also to teach our students how to work in a team, how to communicate with people with different opinions, with different views on the situation. So usually our home assignments is just a sharpening tool for your knowledge and sharpening tool for your interactions with your colleagues, with your professors, because we are always trying to connect and relate your home assignments with your term and paper and master thesis. We don't want you to waste time to do something which is not interesting for you, but always trying to attract you in a proper manner, in a proper way, to connect it with your research, with your interests, and to make it better for you.
As my colleague has already explained you in great detail, public policy learning process is about the applicability and multiplicity of the applicability, because what we are trying to train in our learning process is that in what way the student, people like you, and they are different ones, people who are fresh graduates, people who are mid-career executive, people who are diplomats, people who are working in the ministry, and then they are joining our program. Because that's the global trend, is that public policy as a platform has been receiving the people from very different parts of the world. We don't have a kind of a monopoly that you have a fresh graduate chunk of people who are kind of crowding the class. So you have extremely well-educated people who are joining the program, and with them there are fresh graduates who are sitting there. And what the basic different assignments are for, because in the career path, in the professional life, you're not just writing reflection papers, you're not writing answers. So we demand a certain level of analytical tools of yours to be further polished, further sharpened, further evolved, and that's why there is a whole different set of tasks. And a great amount of work is related with the group activity, because you at the end of the day is going to work in a group. So a lot of assignments are group assignments where the people are interacting, working things together, they are writing things together, they're presenting things together, and that way there is a whole leadership skill that you kind of start to blossom it inside you during the learning process. So you have these presentations where the students are doing the presentations. Some of the pictures you can see are of the conflict management classes, where the students are human rights and globalizing world classes, where the students are teaching, and this is the course Mr. Elgana teaches. Conflict management is the course that I teach here. And you can see there are students, there is one gentleman who is from Britain and who had studied with us here in the program 2 years ago. And there's a class where the students are sitting in the group, in the clusters, and they are talking together, doing their assignment, doing the presentation, all by themselves. And the professors are there to see, witness, evaluate, and mark them. Oh yeah, so here in the courses of the public policies, there are another courses where if at all you are a kind of a policy maker, policy analyst, or policy consultant, so you have to do a kind of different simulated role where you are writing on behalf of different organizations, different interest groups, and you are creating papers on behalf of them. So basically, if at all you are part of the think tanks, of which they might have been further divided into different categories by conservative, liberal, and kind of social democratic, greens, and based on that, what kind of papers, what kind of policy documents that you are preparing for your those people who have ordered a paper for you, who have commissioned a paper for you, and then you are basically preparing the paper with a lot set of policy arguments to lobby the agenda. But that's not the only case, because this is one chunk of this advocacy campaigning learning that we learn in the policy studies. But not only that, we have a whole set of different learning tools and mechanisms, which is basically applied one. So we don't only teach the theoretical part, we make you do these things in a real-time manner in the class so that once you are in the job market, you really know how does it really unfold at times. Yeah.
It is one of the part of our course called Human Rights in Globalizing World, because during this course our students cooperating and interacting with students from different universities around the globe. If I'm not mistaken, around 5 different universities: George Mason University, Miami University, one from Britain, Bologna University, and probably something else. But anyways, during the period of study, you are assigned to write several blogs about current issues with human rights somewhere, or maybe your own opinion about universality of human rights, some issues related to human rights applicability in different regions, and so on and so forth. And we'd love to introduce this interactive approach to you, because we've got a very long experience of conducting such kind of assignments, because we started this course in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a year earlier. And from this period, we are not changing the program, and our students always participating in such kind of group activities and group interaction between international students.
Yeah, these are the pictures. These are the smartly done pictures that has been done by the students, and we really thought it proper to kind of, basically share it with you that learning is intensive, but it's all about a lot of fun together at the same time. So that's what the exams are all about, which I spoke about earlier, that you have a combination of presentations, group work, advocacy campaign, essay, applied research. And here, yeah.
This everyday life pictures.
So these are the pictures which are related to the learning process, and here you are going to have what are the basic principles that we are basically focusing on in the way of our study process. That it has to be very practice oriented. It has to have a long variety of elective courses. It focuses on the development of analytical skills, and basically the learning environment is very full of freedom of thought and expression, where you can debate, contest, and argue not only with your classmates but your teacher, and most of the time it is extremely well appreciated, so long as you are on the course of just talking about the theme, not about your personal agenda. And the course is by well-known researchers. So what we are basically encouraging in our learning process, that the scholars are coming from different parts of the world who are also contributing and talking about it. So if at all you go to our website, you might see you would have a lot of different international scholars who are visiting here. Just last month we had a fantastic scholarly engagement by Professor Giuseppe Mastruzzo, who has been a great leader of academic project called International University College Torino, with whom we have a partnership of academic exchange of the teachers and the students, and he was here to help us, the students, to understand some of the concepts with more of a global perspective. And this is a very regular feature that happens every semester. Besides all the theoretical knowledge that you gave, you are also having a massive amount of applicable knowledge to combine with. So students are having a huge amount of democratic
because we are always about democratic governance and bottom-up approach. We are encouraging our students to participate in some administrative work and try to govern themselves as far as possible in high schools economics.
Basically, in the whole learning environment of our department, the students are participating at each one of the stage. So during the way the course is basically taught, what basically needs to be tailored or added in order to enhance their learning achievements, what are the basic academic goals that they are looking for, what kind of area of research that they are thinking about, and in what way they can kind of further enlarge their academic or career possibility. So we basically listen students very carefully in order to sustain the quality control as well as to enhance it further. So you might see here the whole set of things that is basically done by the students. What are the things that they are doing? There's a cultural club, they're managing the website, they're organizing the different kind of activities, which is very varied. They're having regular international seminars, which are basically organized at the Students Initiative that they had last year on the day of Africa Day, where they organized talking about the idea against racism. Then they had a subject on the non-violence as a concept on the 2nd of October. We celebrate the International Human Rights Day on the 10th of December. So there's a whole set of activities that is basically organized by the students. So these are the activities which we have just talked about. You can see the posters that is organized and done all by the students.
We've got also outdoor activities, because Higher School of Economics providing us a greater possibility to visit our study center called Voronova. It is located around 60 kilometers away from Moscow, and if we want to conduct some outdoor meeting or seminar or scientific event, we are always related to this possibility, and you can always join us as a student.
So these are some of the activities that is entirely done by the students, and we take our students as a necessary, an integral part of our whole department's existence. So as much as we talk about what we do, it's important to know what students do there when they are with us. And these are the co-curricular learning platform where students are basically engaged to enhance the applicable learning of the courses or the subjects which they have been studying during the theoretical framework under the leadership of a teacher in a class. So they are applying and they are taking the lead in those activities, and we are basically most of the time joining them as a guest in order to celebrate their achievements in learning. So these are the bright pictures where you can see some of those scholars are coming and they are basically participating and doing the presentations about the International Day of Human Rights, which is on 10th of December. And the whole event was entirely organized by the students in order to discuss about the ideas of human rights, both from the expression aspect as well as from the capacity aspect, how basically the concern of human rights are a major policy issue for anybody across the world. Yeah, these are the fun times.
Yeah. Collective events, different ones, like birthdays, parties.
Sacrosanta. You might see a gentleman who is absolutely with a good health has been wearing a red cap and has been sharing the cake along with the students, and that's fun because the whole learning atmosphere is learn, celebrate, and grow. So
as you can see in upper right corner, even head of our department participating.
Oh yes, Professor Bilawa is at her best fun mood because this at the end of the day is our motto: learn and teach, not torture. And that is something that we basically kind of take ourselves very seriously, not to behave seriously while teaching very serious things. So
it is information about distribution of our students
from different parts of the world.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got a very huge distribution, like people from Asia, Asian countries like India, like Vietnam, like Thailand, like Myanmar. We've got a lot of students from Myanmar currently. Students from Mongolia, from CIS countries, from some European countries. This is not mentioned here, but also we've got some students from Britain, from Hungary, United States, from Mexico.
From Hungary, from Ecuador. So this picture needs a bit of an updating because there's a huge amount. So you can't talk about it except for Australia, from where the teacher is. Our department is having students from all the 5 continents of the world. Yeah.
A little bit more infographics about languages, about how many hours per week you can spend for learning and teaching activities, on another infographic about our academic interests.
And what are your job expectations? Yeah. How will you end up as? Maybe as one of the leading policy maker or a leading policy analyst, as a professor, as a politician. And you might see that we from the academia consider politicians not at the highest level, but just after the NGO and the professors. So yeah, there is a whole set of career opportunity that is there. And what is really important is that we can say eyeball to anybody who we meet that most of our students are very successfully employed in very different sectors of the job market, including those which are basically here on display. These are the contacts.
You can always join our Facebook group, visit our Twitter, visit our Instagram. We're always trying to publish some update materials, photos from everyday life, reports about different events which we conduct in. So you can join us in social media if you're interested in it.
Contact us right away, just immediately after we are done with that. Thanks a lot for your attention,
you.
and I hope that we are open for the questions and queries if at all there are any. Yeah, thank you. This one?
Нет, вот. Раз, два, три, четыре.
Тут надо писать?
Нет, отвечайте просто.
Okay. Should I put here like okay or?
No. You can just.
Okay, Stephen, as I understand that you have sent here the view results section of my application page shows that my application has been recommended for admission with full tuition quota scholarship. What would the remaining process be, and when should I expect the final results of the quota? Things are very simple and complicated at the same time. Simple in the sense that our international admission office, they are a bunch of extremely highly qualified professionals who know that each one of the applications deserve total attention, total respect, and total response. They would be getting back to you in each one of the stages of their deadlines that they have articulated it on the website. If at all in your case, Stephen, you have been chosen as a full tuition quota scholarship, remain sure that you are there. So my congratulations well in advance to be a part of the HSC family, and looking forward to see you here. And here, as I understand it, Lamarana Jallo is that what is the meaning of this recommended for admission as a fee-paying student without quota scholarship? Things are very simple and clear that our program has been receiving a massive amount of interest from people across the world, and there are people whose portfolio, submission of documents, as well as the interview that is subsequently followed by it, has been marked or evaluated by a group of professors very independently and objectively. And if at all, the higher criteria is that the students who have got graded higher, they have been chosen for the tuition fee full funded scholarship. And those people who have been recommended for admission is that they are good enough, strong enough students. But as the number of seats are limited and the applicants are way too high, we have to really be objective and honest with the meritocracy. And we have to give the students the time who are having a much better capacity, articulation, achievement to be given the platform for free tuition, full funded scholarship to study here with us. And that's where the difference is, that you are very much welcome to join us. And at the same time, I must underscore that if at all you constantly score high in the program, so there are chances that you might be upgraded for the tuition free full funded scholarship for your studies for 2 years time.
Yeah, you can shift from first year to second year as a free tuition student. Yes.
Yeah, but at the same time here, I would like to underscore here that what I mean here is that the full funded doesn't really cover your food and other expenses. What HSC does is that it provides you an amazing place to live in the city center. Most of the time, international students are placed in the city center of Moscow to live in a very cozy, comfortable dormitory. And
it is also very cheap.
It is absolutely cheap. It's less than, I guess, $15 a month.
Yes, even less.
I guess that's it. And then you're getting a kind of a student's metro pass, which is basically available to you for 2 years, where you can have an unlimited ride inside the metro. But I believe, as you would be studying with us, you get not that many chances to travel across the city. So yes, but you have the amazing set of opportunity to be here with us in the sense of a good living condition and good transport condition. And a bit of a token scholarship that goes around some 1,000 rubles, some few thousand rubles, and that's kind of okay.
Yeah, around 3,000 rubles.
Yeah,
2,700 rubles, something.
So like that's kind of so that you can buy nice coffees a few times a year. That goes without saying here. Yeah. And the last question, as I understand it, right? Okay, here you have some more. What is the meaning of this recommended? Yeah, that's here. Are there any open registration presently? Of course, there is a second line where the students are submitting their papers. You can contact in two ways. You might have seen the website of our Department of Public Policy. You can easily contact by writing us an email, or our program manager, Ms. Catherine Cheklinos, he would be the lady who would be answering, or one of us can be answering you back, either Artyom or me, and we can proceed further on that. But at the same time, the requirements are the same. They are universally consistent in the whole of HSC structure. You have to send all the documents, you have to submit your registration paper, and then it is followed to us. So you have to go through the international admissions process, and then we are automatically receiving it from the international admission office. You can always mark us in copy just in order to be sure that if at all you think that they might lose it on the way, so we are always ready to receive any documents from any one of the prospective students.
Yeah, just use contact information from the website. If we will not able to answer you, we will always redirect you to the proper person who can answer all your questions and who can recommend you the best options.
Yeah, and here comes a very simple question again, Steven, that you're asking: how easy can a student, graduate of the program, enroll on the PhD program in political science? Well, it depends. It's a question again of the competition, and I believe that HSC believes in academic competition, fair play, transparency, and excellence as a result of that. So what we really take great pride about is the way HSC creates a very level playing ground. And Steven, if at all you are up for the ball, grab it. That's it. I mean, you just go for it. I mean, we will be more than proud of having you as a PhD student 2 years from now, and we will claim that, okay, Steven has been a great success story for us. And does HSC fund the study program in Italy? Oh, no. But the thing is that, you know, in Italy, you don't have tuition fee to pay with. I mean, that's the whole thing. But you have to take care of your accommodation, transport, and all that by yourself. What we do is to help you make this great transition from here to be there. And if at all you are in the top list of the learning process in the first semester and shortlisted for the double degree, you are having the best of the both worlds to get 2 degrees at the cost of none. And that's it.
I'm not sure about current year, but previously you get a chance to apply for kind of study grant. We lost